Greg Heffley is one of the biggest icons in history. He's on the cover of books, movies, animated movies, board games. They even made a plush of him at Kohl's. Which I'm sure you're all wondering the exact same question. Why has Greg Heffley always been stuck in middle school? Welcome back to the Shortwave Show, everyone. Glad you could tune in. And to really understand why Greg has been stuck in middle school all these years throughout the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, we really need to understand Jeff Kinney's intentions with the series. When the very original book came out, it covered an entire year of school. Although actually in the book, I don't think it even says what grade he's in, although in the movie and animated movie, they did confirm that was his 6th grade year. But obviously, as time went on, Jeff Kinney realized that he needed to make some more Wimpy Kid books, because obviously people were really interested in this series, and I mean, who doesn't mind making money? And it's really interesting as the series goes along, despite the fact that every book is 217 pages, they seem to be focusing on smaller frames of time instead of an entire school year. Where in the second book it mentions some of the stuff Greg did over the summer, but it goes right back to the next school year and it's like the first semester. And then the third book covers the second semester of that year, which would have been his 7th grade year. And then the fourth book is all about that summer vacation. And then books 5 through 8 cover his 8th grade year. And book 9 is the summer vacation after that. But this is where things get all weird, because you would think Greg would just go to high school after that. But Jeff Kinney decided that he wanted Greg to stay in middle school, and I definitely understand. That definitely plays a huge role into the story. It's about Greg at that awkward age. But to be completely honest, I don't understand why Jeff Kinney thought he was obligated to keep Greg in middle school, because there is a lot of interesting stuff you could do if you just have Greg move on to high school. But regardless, in the 10th book, Greg Heffley returns to middle school, confirming that he's going to be stuck there forever, and he actually says in that very book that he feels like he's been in middle school forever. So the 10th book really just transformed this series into being a floating timeline, which if you don't know what a floating timeline is, it's basically when characters never age in whatever piece of media they're in. Although time will still continue to pass, they're going to have cell phones and whatever advanced technology comes along with the future. Some examples of floating timelines include The Simpsons, and of course the Big Nate comic strip, where every single year he returns back to 6th grade after summer break. He's been 11 years old for like 30 years. But back to the Wimpy Kid series, obviously books 10 through 14 cover his 4th year of middle school. Then book 15 is the summer vacation. Books 16 through 18 cover his 5th year of middle school. And the last one that's came out as of right now, book 19, covered the vacation after that. And it's safe to assume in the next book, Greg will enter his 6th year of middle school.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
And it's just very clear this is what Jeff Kinney wants to do with the series. But as I was saying, there is some interesting stuff you could do with putting Greg in high school, because you could have a book centered around him trying to get his driver's license when he hits that age, or obviously him becoming a legal adult at some point. And you could even have Manny growing up and Greg mentoring him, and you could have Roderick move off to college, but then he'd probably quit and like come back to their house and not pay rent. And so there's just a lot of new creative stuff Jeff Kinney could have done with Greg in high school, and I think it just would have been easier for him to have better quality books that way, because while all the books in the series are very good and worth reading, a lot of the newer ones definitely are not on the same quality as the old ones, because they're starting to become a little bit less relatable and just more of the wacky adventures of Greg and his family, and so they're just not as realistic and funny.
Disappointed!
But as I said, if you had Greg going into high school, you wouldn't have to worry about running out of ideas for that kind of stuff. And if 9 books covered 3 years of middle school, Jeff Kinney could make quite a few books covering high school, because he wouldn't have any of them covering just an entire year like the original book. Like every book could be one season: summer, fall, winter, and spring. And so that's 4 books per 4 years of high school, and that's 16 books Jeff Kinney could have made with Greg in high school. So he could have done that, and we wouldn't have even ran out of Wimpy Kid books by now. And yes, it would be weird making books about Greg being an adult. You would probably have to finish the series once he graduated, but to be completely honest, that would probably be worth it. Because I'll take quality over quantity any day of the week, and all good things do have to come to an end at some point. But at the end of the day, Jeff Kinney just wants this series to be a floating timeline, and I'm still always excited for the new books. I like checking them out, but I do definitely think there would have been some potential with putting Greg in high school. But if we want to see that kind of stuff, I guess we just have to stick with the fan fiction, which is honestly really weird. But let me know in the comment section down below, do you think Greg should have gone off to high school, or did Jeff Kinney make the right call by making him stay in middle school? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.